everybody, welcome to the Black Sheep Props channel. I'm Steve and I'm here to teach you the tips, tools, techniques, and materials for building your very own super cool EVA foam props. Now in our last episode, making an EVA foam Culling Blade Part 1, you saw us knock out that giant double-bladed axe head thing with all the cool hammered steel texture on there, and it was super easy. You could totally do this. And so that means for this episode, making an EVA foam Culling Blade Part 2, we're going to do this whole killer, giant, octagonal shaped axe handle with the leather wraps and the wrought iron ring and all the wood grain on here and the hacks and the damage, which is super, super easy. And then we're going to paint it. Really, really easy paint job. Big, but super easy. You can totally do this whole thing. The build and the paint job is really, really, really basic. Just a lot. That's it, man. I'm going to shut my yap. If you're ready to hit it, let's make something.
So now we're going to come in and we're going to draw a line right to here all the way around. We're going to stand this up. We're just going to take our time. We're going to go one side at a time, and we're going to slide right through just like that. There we go. All right, now check it out. Look at that end. All right, nice. Okay, now what we're going to do is this. All right, we are going to have to submerge a wood dowel in here for strength and support because it's too flexible. All right, so we're going to split this right down the middle and we're going to submerge a wood dowel in it. All right, there we go. Split it in half right down the middle. We marked our sides so we know that we put it back together the right way. All right, now, all right, here's our wood dowel. It's a 3/8 of an inch dowel, all right, and we're going to submerge it in here. Now we're going to Dremel out a trench. Now we have to peel off all of this crispy burnt edge. Let's try it out. We might have to go a little bit deeper. How crazy this is that it melts the foam down in here and it hardens, and then you got to get in here and you got to try to peel it out. All right, let's try this now. That is nice. That fits in there perfect. Now when we bring this in and we submerge it, we are going to have a nice stiff handle because we've got a wood dowel inside of it. Cool. Let's clean up. That's really tight in there right now, which is good. Line this up flush at the front. Use our two fingers on the sides to line our edges up real nice. All right, there we go. We'll get our seam together the whole way down. All right, now we're going to drill up into the head of this and slide this up in there. All right, so we're going to cut some of this off because we don't want that much going up in there. And we're gonna, since this is slightly off center, this pole, we're gonna make sure that it's slightly off center here on the base so that the handle looks straight. All right, let's make a few measurements. Okay, now, because this pole is off center, we figured out where that hole is going to be. So this little X right here shows us where the off-center pole is going to go in. So that's where we're going to drill our hole. All right, now we want to drill our hole slightly smaller than this dowel so it fits in there really tight. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to use different drill bits, and we're going to periodically get larger till we've got the size we want. So we're going to line up with our mark. All right, here we go. Now comes the final size. We're going to go over to the bandsaw. We're going to knock our dowel off right there. Now we are ready. Now, but before we do this, we want to do some more work on the handle, okay? So we've got everything set up to where it can slide right in and be perfect when we're done, all right? But we're going to do some work on here first. All right, here we go. These marks right here and right here are going to be where we're going to be putting our wraps. Right here and right here. But in between those spots, we want wood grain and some damage. All right, so we're going to do the same thing we did with that little wood piece up on the top of our axe head. We're going to come in with our wood burner and we're going to draw wood grain lines. That is looking good. That's wood grain. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to put some damage on here. We're going to streak right across it. Like that. Oh, look at that. Just like that. Now we've got damage and wood grain. And that's it. All right, there we go. Wood grain and damage. More wood grain and damage in the center. Real simple. And then wood grain and damage on the end. Really easy stuff. Okay, now we cut these long strips of 2mm foam. They're about 1.25 inches. You can do them any width you want. Now this is really easy stuff, all right? You've seen us do this before. We're just gonna wrap this, and we're not gonna use any fancy technique. We're just gonna get it started, and we're gonna wrap it so that each wrap slightly overlaps the one before it, all right? And we're gonna come in and we're gonna start this slightly off on an angle like this. All right, and then we're gonna come in and we're gonna wrap it. Just like that. All right, that easy. Now we're gonna come in with the second piece and we're gonna start it right here off of the end of this piece. And we're going to finish wrapping. So let's kind of roughly guesstimate how long we need to go here. All right. That mark is going to be the end right there. Like that. And now we're going to line this up just like that. All right, see how we finished that? Right there up against the other wrap. And you almost can't even see the end of it. All right, perfect. All right, there you go. That is a little rustic wrap for our handle. All right, now we're gonna cut some more of those 2mm strips and do the exact same thing here. All right, there we go. We did the same thing. We cut a taper at the end and we ended it right here. Now, all right, here we go. Now it's time to stick the handle in. We've got our X marked here on the top here and over here on this side, so we know that when we slide this dowel in, it's going to go in the right spot and the whole handle is going to be fairly centered. Okay, now these are dry, but what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of wet cement on our dowel. And we're going to spin that around so we're coating the inside cavity. There we go, line our X's up, and that is spot on in the center. Holy smokes, is that tight. All right, let's get good contact. All right, so what we did is this, okay? You've seen us do this before. The dry cement on this side made contact with the dry cement on that side. And then we added the extra around the dowel because that's going to go around the inside of the cavity, and eventually the solvent content will evaporate inside the contact cement and it'll stick on the inside. So we've got dry cement to dry cement, and then it's going to be dry cement inside the cavity also. So there we go. All right, now we're going to come in with this 18 millimeter foam dowel, and we're going to heat it up. All right, now we're going to bring it into one of our spray paint cans, and we're going to wrap this around here, and we're going to hold it just like that. All right, we're going to leave it alone for a little bit. We're going to let it cool off, and that's going to help it stay in a pretty tight circle for when we go to glue the ends together. All right, we could have let it heat up longer. We also could have let it sit wrapped around the can longer, but this will be good for what we're doing. That's just enough so that it doesn't fight us when we go to attach it. So we're going to get the ends cemented. All right, now we're going to push this down, and we're going to nice. All right, there's our ring for the end of our handle. Now we're going to... Okay, now we noticed that since we didn't finish our wrap all the way down, we've got wood grain line that doesn't finish, okay? So we're going to refinish that right now. Perfect. Nice. Little simple fix there. All right, now we're going to seal our wraps because they're dry foam. This will tighten the surface up a little bit. Very cool. Wow, I love that when you hit that thing with heat and it just tightens up the surface. That's really nice. All right, now we're going to come in and we're going to stick this ring on the bottom. Now what we're going to do to help it stick on there is we're going to cut a little bit of an edge off. We just want a tiny little edge cut off of there. Slice a little piece off. Look at that little piece. That's just enough to give us a little flat spot right there that we can stick right to the back of there like so. Wow, is that cool? We're going to line it up and we're going to stick it right on there just like that. Push it. It's a big ring on the back end of our handle. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of foam, we're going to slide it under here, and we're going to use our round bit on our Dremel, and we're going to bounce around on this thing and dent it up so it looks like hammered steel. All right, there we go. Look at that. Now that looks like a rustic, banged up iron ring on the back of there. That is sweet. Just that little bit of bouncing around on there helped it not just look like a smooth foam ring, helps it look like a legit antique rustic metal ring. And you saw the whole rest of it, that crazy radical handle that looks like wood grain with the wood grain in it and the hacks and the gouges. Really cool look. You saw us wrap the handle, which was super easy, and then we tightened that foam up and surface really tightens over when you heat seal it. Those look great. And then man, oh man, the kingpin of the build, the head of this thing, that is crazy. Look at that thing. You saw how we did it. It was super easy. It's got that ancient rustic hammered steel look. We've got these banged up pyramid shaped rustic rivet things, and then this cool top piece that looks like they banged the wood handle all the way through and then they hammered the top of it to split it open a little bit so you can't pull it out. That looks totally cool and super easy technique with the wood burner. Now I've seen people out there doing crazy realistic wood, and you can go even further, man. It's totally up to you. It's your deal. But this is enough just to fake it, so from 5 feet away, looks and feels like wood. And that's it, man. Super cool. So with that last detail, the rustic, banged up, hammered steel ring, that brings the build portion of our Dota 2 Culling Blade build to a close. All right, here we are out at the spray stand. We're going to begin coating this monster Culling Blade with our Plastidip. And you know what we always say, even if you're outside in a well-ventilated area, do not spray without your respirator. All right, there we go. Check that out, man. Coated in multiple coats of Plastidip. Not hard at all, too, because there was no hidden crevices in here. All this is pretty wide open and easy to get to, but it was crazy huge. So it took a little bit of time, but that's it, man. We're gonna leave it alone. We're gonna hang it up and we're gonna let it dry all the way through, and then we're gonna paint it. And this paint job's gonna be super easy and it's gonna look legit rustic. All right. Okay, now this should be a super easy paint job. All right, we're gonna come in with our real brown. And it doesn't matter if we get brown on this piece because we're gonna paint over it after. All right, see that? See how it leaves like a dark edge right there? Because that's what the sponge brush does for us, helps us get naturally dark crevices. And now we're just gonna take our time and we're gonna go around the whole thing. It's gonna take a little while, but it's super easy. That's it, just keep going. Nice. All right, let's leave that alone. Let's let it dry, and then we'll come in to do some other tones on there. Okay, now we're going to come in with some burnt sienna. All right, we're going to do an additional tone on our wraps. All right. Look at that. It's pulling out that kind of bright orangish brown color just to give the wrap a little bit of that tone change all the way around. We're going to hit it along the edges and up these 4 corners, down the edge, and a little bit around the front of each wrap. Just a slight little tone change. All right, now we're going to come back down to this wrap and do the same thing. All right, there we go. Look at that. That's nice. It just pulls out a little bit of that kind of like orange color on the edges of the wraps and up each of the little edges of the octagonal shaped handle. Okay, now we're going to come in with just some simple black, all right, because we want to darken up this handle a little bit. So we're going to... All right, there we go. We're coming in and we're just going to smear it up with some black. There we go. Nice. All right. Now it looks really dark with some brown showing through in some spots. All right, so our handle and our wrap clearly look different. That's really cool. Okay, now we're going to come in with our silver. All right, now because of the sponge, see how down inside these divots we're not picking up any silver? That's nice. That's exactly what we wanted. And then when we get down in here in the corner, we're leaving a nice dark shadow in the corner because of the sponge brush. All right, there we go. We've got the side, all the inside edges, and that side done. And because, like we said before, because you use a sponge brush, it leaves dark crevices and little dark spots down inside all of the little dents. And we're gonna give that a second, and then we're gonna come in and we're gonna mask off around these two pieces of wood so we can get up here around this edge and not hit our wood. All right, so we put a little bit of tape around the bottom here, just so we can hit in here and not hit our handle. Peel this off. There we go. Nice, very nice. All right, now let's get up here, do the same thing. Beautiful. There we go. Not bad. All right, we're going to use a little bit of black. Now we're going to paint over where we got some of our silver. All right, that's a rich black right there. That's a lot more rich than the Plastidip black that was in there originally. All right, there we go. We painted black inside those cavities on both sides, real easy. Looking nice and clean. We even came in with a brush and some silver and we got down inside these big chips in the blade. Man, this thing is looking nice. Loving this thing. Wow. And we're gonna paint this ring black so it looks like a black wrought iron ring. All right, here we go. Here it is, all finished. You saw how easy that paint job was. We came in with our brown and we did the whole handle and the wraps, and then we came in with our burnt sienna and got this kind of like orange brown worn highlighting look on the two wraps. And then we came in with some black and we rubbed the black all over the wood parts to darken it up so that it really looks on the darker side with some light brown popping through it. Just the black on the wrought iron hammered ring at the bottom. And then you saw how we did the simple sponging on of the silver, and it left these natural dark corners down in here and black inside all of the dents and the gouges in the hammered steel because the sponge brush doesn't fit down in there. And we just brushed in the black on the inside, so it's a rich black instead of the dull Plastidip black. So there you go. That easy. Really easy and huge. Now we could have made the blade a little bit thinner, just a little bit, maybe an inch thinner. So you can do that when you get ready to build yours. If you don't want the blade this thick, just don't stack it up that thick. Make it a little bit thinner, but it's still cool. And there you go. That with that last detail, painting the black wrought iron ring at the bottom, that brings our Dota 2 Culling Blade build to a close.
Whoa, there it was, the whole thing. Check that out, man. This is gargantuan. But like we said, this was super easy creating this handle. The way we split it down the middle, we submerged a wood dowel in there, and then you saw how totally super easy it was to do the wood grain and the damage. And again, I'm no expert on wood grain. There's people who are killing it with the wood grain. Super realism, but this is good enough from a couple feet away to look like wood. And the same thing with the paint job. You saw how easy it was. Just a couple simple colors and a little bit of adding a second tone in there just to break it up a little bit was just enough to make it have that look. That was it, man. This thing was totally fun and totally giant. So that pretty much concludes making an EVA foam Culling Blade Part 2. Hope you liked it. If you did, give us a like, share us with a friend, and subscribe to this channel. And together we're going to go step by step through a lot more super cool builds so that you get the props you deserve. Thanks for coming. See you next time.